Mr. Dennis Tan.
Madam Deputy Speaker, this bill proposes, among other things, to amend the SAF Act 1972 to establish a Digital and Intelligence Service, DIS, to be led by a new Chief of Digital and Intelligence Service, alongside other existing service chiefs, make changes and enhance punishment in the SAF, and to permit military maneuvers being carried out in catchment areas currently under the PUB. Madam Deputy Speaker, I support the establishment of the DIS. I do seek some clarifications from the Minister regarding some details of the bill. Firstly, MINDEF has said that for the proposed DIS, the SAF will grow the initial core of digital experts through recruitment, in-service conversions, and professional partnerships with a wider digital ecosystem, and that it will also be leveraging on NSF and NSMEN personnel with tech talents. May I ask the Minister for a start, what is the proportion of servicemen which MINDEF expects to recruit from outside MINDEF or SAF? What is the expected proportion of uniformed staff and non-uniformed staff? Will non-Singaporean or PRs be allowed to serve in the DIS? And if so, what are the security safeguards in place to ensure national security? Madam Deputy Speaker, I would also like to ask the Minister what measures are in place to ensure that in carrying out its work to safeguard the security of our country, the DIS will be bound by clear regulations governing the conduct of their investigations and other areas of their work, which will prevent any misuses of its investigation powers or resources, especially during peacetime. I have full confidence in our armed forces and its personnel. Nevertheless, clearly spelled out regulations will ensure that all personnel will know the legal limits of their operational work and ensure surveillance, investigation, and other actions will be taken in full compliance with the law, including if the service is expected to work with other government agencies. Next, this bill also introduces the concept of the composition of offences to the disciplinary regimes of the SAF, the Civil Defence, and the Police Force. May I ask the Minister, what is the thinking behind the introduction of the composition of offences? Why is this considered to be a positive enhancement of the disciplinary regime? I recall from my experience in the SAF some years ago as an NSMan, as well as a unit disciplinary officer, that a conviction pursuant to a summary trial will be captured in the records of an errant serviceman and may possibly affect the performance assessment of such serviceman. May I clarify with the Minister, under the proposed composition of offences regime, will an offence or the fact on an offence being compounded be recorded in the disciplinary or the personnel records of an errant serviceman? And if so, will this be a relevant factor for the purposes of the assessment of the serviceman's performance and his promotion prospects? On the other hand, if compounded offences are scrubbed from the personnel records, will the records not show an inaccurate picture of a serviceman's disciplinary records, with misdemeanors and commission of less so-called serious offences not being reflected? Next, may I also ask the Minister to elaborate a little on the guidelines for the independent disciplinary officers deciding on whether to allow the serviceman to compound the offence. For example, will a repeat of a similar offence by a serviceman disallow the independent disciplinary officer to compound the offence again? I note that this bill is enhancing the existing maximum punishments under the SAF Act, which can be awarded for certain offences, as well as by the relevant officer assigned to officiate summary trials. Clauses 12 to 7 increase the current fine amounts that may be awarded in a summary trial by a disciplinary officer or a senior disciplinary committee. Besides the reasons given by the Honourable Minister in his speech for the enhancement of the punishment under the SAF Act, may I also ask the Minister whether there has been a significant or proportionate increase in summary trials and/or convictions at summary trials in the last 5 or 10 years? And if so, whether this plays a part in the government deciding to enhance the punishments? Can the Minister share with the House the number of summary trials carried out each year in the past 5 years? The last point I would like to raise relates to Clause 37 of the bill, which proposes to amend Section 7 of the Military Manoeuvres Act to permit the SAF to carry out military manoeuvres in catchment areas with the approval of PUB. While military action can occur across any geographic feature and training has to be as realistic as possible, the impact of military equipment could well be damaging and polluting to the waterways and its surroundings. I'd like to know, besides approval, what oversight of the military exercises will PUB have? Does PUB have complete say in its pre-exercise or pre-training assessment of the environmental impact of the proposed SAF training? Does PUB have a continuing duty to supervise the training being carried out on the ground so that PUB is able to ensure that the actual environmental impact of any SAF training in any of its public reservoirs or waterways is minimized? If not, can PUB be given such a power to supervise the actual use of its lands and waterways by the SAF? Thank you.